it's Joanna Hunter here from joannahunter.com, and if you are watching me live, you will see the little icon in the corner. So today I wanted to speak to you about opening up the channels to receiving, but also as well I wanted to speak to you about something that is super important, like worthiness, for instance, is super important. And this is one of the things that is super important, is to open up your channels of receiving. If you want to receive more in, you are the conduit by which everything arrives into your life. Now, it's very hard to imagine that you are the conduit by which everything arrives into your life, because it's so easy to think it's all out there. And but I'm receiving from out there. I'm receiving through out there. I'm not receiving through myself. But actually, that's exactly what's happening. You're receiving through yourself. And I want to speak to you about how you're receiving through yourself, so that you can open up your conduit for receiving to even bigger. So let's see who's jumping on here. So this is a really important live stream. So do share it with your mates if you want. Hey Amy, I haven't seen you in a while. How are you doing, my love? Hi Zoe, how are you doing? Right, so we want to open up this conduit for receiving inside of ourselves. Well, here is the good news and the bad news, all in one. All in that beautiful duality. Okay, the good news and the bad news, all in one, is that you can only receive in to the level that you love yourself. You can only receive in to the level that you love yourself. Okay, so if your self-love is not very good, then that feels like bad news. And if your self-love is really good, then that feels like great news. The good news overall, though, is that you are in control of how much you love yourself. You are in control of how much you love yourself. So today, what I wanted to talk to you about is Too. T-O-O. Too. Do you tell yourself these stories like, I'm too much, or I talk too much? You know, I for years used to say, oh, I talk too much, and I'm too this, and I'm too that, and I'm loud, and I'm too, and I'm too, and I'm too. Every time we use the word, I am too, know that you are comparing yourself to something else, right? Because otherwise, you would be accepting yourself, but you're going, I'm too loud, I'm too chatty, I'm too talky, I'm too this, I'm too that. It could be anything that you're telling yourself you're too. I spent years telling myself I was too fat, too fat for being on camera, policing myself, squeezing myself, trying to fit myself into some perfect little model and shell that I wasn't even designed to fit into. I am me. I can only be me. And you can only be you. And I'm here to tell you that you are enough as you are. And stop saying the word fucking too. Because you're robbing the world of who you really are. If you are policing yourself, dimming your light, pushing yourself down, squeezing yourself down, going, I'm too, it means you're comparing yourself. Comparing yourself, comparison is the thief of joy. You are literally stealing your own joy, and you are stealing your own power by using the term too. I'm too much. I'm too talky. I'm too this. I'm too that. No, you're just perfect, just the way that you are. With all the will in the world, you are never going to be like another person on this planet. There's 7.6 billion people on the planet, and there's only one you. And if you don't start sucking up how spectacularly amazing and special and beautiful and gorgeous that is, then you dim your light, and as you dim your light, you dim your ability to receive in. You are a container. Anything of your container that you are rejecting, any part of your container that you are not fully loving and embracing, you shut it down. You're shutting that container down. And you're making your container smaller and smaller and smaller. And your container can only hold its capacity. And you are the universe in ecstatic motion. an expression of the universe, like a facet of the universe, right? So you have this infinite container that can contain an infinite amount of goodness. And every time you use the word to, in your language, in your self-chat, in your talk to yourself, container gets smaller, 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 smaller. And then we get to the stage of where it's so tiny that we almost feel like we're bumping up against the edges of it and going, why is my life so crap? Stop comparing yourself. Stop comparing yourself to other people who are living a unique life. You have a unique life. The more that you can embrace your two-ness, right? Anything that you're telling yourself, I'm two. Anything that the more that you can embrace that, the more that you can love that, the more that you can accept that. It's your own acceptance. Your container goes bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And the size of it just starts to expand, and your ability to receive expands with it. And that expands in with it. So be mindful of yourself using the word to. Are you using it? Are you saying, I'm to this, I'm to that? No, you're just right. You're just right. You've been made how you've been made. And your inability to accept yourself for who you are is shutting down your ability to receive in from this life and to receive in the fullness of who you are. Because only through the fullness of who you are can you receive in the fullness of the universe has to offer for you. Right? I hope that makes sense. So let's have a look here. I'm too introverted. I'm too serious. You're introverted. Love it. Love it, love it, love it. Love your seriousness. Right? Everybody doesn't need to be funny 24/7. We don't all need to be comedians. Right? We can be introverted. We can be serious. World needs people like that. Love it, love it, love it, love it. And the more that you embrace it, and the more that you own that aspect of you, your audience, Zoe, will love you for that. They will love the introverted, serious woman that you can be. Right? And that's what's so amazing about this. Because the thing is that when I stopped listening to all of the inner mind chatter of I'm to this and I'm to that and started to embrace it, it's so funny. People say, like, I used to say, oh my God, I'm too chatty. I really don't know when to shut up, right? Okay. Kind of love that bit about myself. But I never used to. And when I started to embrace that and love that, people who's total strangers used to say, I love how chatty you are. Thank you. I'm receiving that in. Thank you. Thank you. Why? Because I had switched my dialogue. And you know, the universe, which is everything outside that you are perceiving as an outside thing to you, it's taking its cues from you. It's taking its cues from you. And so when you're using the word to, I'm to this, I'm to that, you're judging yourself. And you're shutting yourself off. You're nipping off your conduit for receiving, because you are also the conduit for receiving in. So let's see who else is on here. I'm a whole lot of me, and I've always told I was too much. If I shine too bright for someone, they can just put on sunnies. Yeah, get the sunglasses on. Tell them to get the sunglasses on. See, the problem is when you really, really, fully embrace yourself, then what happens is that other people, they're still playing the two game, right? They're still playing the two game. And so what they're saying is, I see you, I see your maybe chattiness, I see your too muchness, and I am not allowing myself to have that. I don't value myself enough to allow myself to be the fullness of me. And so it actually has nothing to do with you when they're saying you're too, whatever it is. It is because they are living in a state of pinched off conduit to receiving. They're pinched their conduit to receiving off. And then when they see other people who have that area where they have pinched off open, they go, whoa, because they're not allowing themselves that. They're not allowing themselves that thing. And people like to police other people. People love to police other people because that's what keeps them safe. And when we police somebody else, with an opinion, like they're to this or they're to that, or they're this or they're that. The problem with that is that usually it really has no resonance in truth. It is really our own truth that we're talking about. We're saying they're too because I'm not allowing myself to fully express myself in that area. So I'm pinching myself off, and so therefore compared to me they are too much. Because they haven't allowed themselves to be as much as they can possibly be. You know, and so try and eliminate from your inner chatter the word to. Right? Try and eliminate from that inner chatter the word to. Fear of success. Yes, this is what it does. It's the people police. Makes us feared of success. So, that makes so much sense. My story is I'm too sensitive. Embrace your sensitivity. Love your sensitivity. Love who you are. Love all of it. Accept it. The first step to self-love is self-acceptance. You need to just accept it. This is the way I am. Stop making excuses for it. This is the way I am. Like it or lump it. But here's the fullness of me. Here is the fullness of me. I've got jiggly bits and wobbly bits, and I'm chatty and I'm loud, and I really don't like rules, and I really don't like fitting in. And for many people, I can be too much. But that's okay, because that's their limitations they have placed on themselves. I don't have to place those limitations on myself. I can embrace my fullness. And as I embrace my fullness, I expand my container to receiving in the fullness of the juice, the amazingness that this planet, this life that we are having has to offer for us. So look for where you are pinching off your energy. I want you to think about something that you say that you're too much. It's making me cry with relief. Go for it, darling. Let those tears fall. Emotion, motion to move. Let it go. Let them out. Oh, Stephanie says you're an amazing communicator. Thank you. I will receive that in. Our hair is the same colour. Oh, awesome. I can't wait to see some pictures, Zoe. Yes. So, tell me a story of what you tell yourself that you are too much. Right? So, Tasha was saying there, she's too sensitive, she's saying. I want you to tell me, where are you telling yourself that you're too? Where are you telling yourself that you're too? And let's do an exercise and bring in. So pop me in the comments where you're telling yourself, maybe the story where you are to something. I'm to this, I'm to that. Where you've been comparing yourself to another energy who is just as unique as you are. And where you are not fully embracing yourself. This is where you're shrinking. This is where you're pulling away from the fullness of what is available to you in this moment. This is the thing, right? We're wondering where our expansion is going to come from, right? We're wondering how we're going to receive in maybe more money, how we're going to receive in more abundance, how we're going to receive in more happiness, more joy in our lives. We're wondering, and the answer is right here. It's right here. It's like in that story that you tell yourself, I'm to this. So whatever it is that you're telling yourself that you're to, let's hear some of them. If you're jumped on here, and let me know, what's a story that you say, I'm to this, I'm to that. I remembered one of my beautiful clients said to me, she was a nutritionist, and she said to me, you know what, I'm a little bit too chubby for what I do. I was like, not everybody wants to learn nutrition from somebody who looks like they've been on a permanent diet. You know, now some women are naturally like that, and other women, the truth is, they have been on a permanent diet. And you know, and there's somebody out there that needs to learn nutrition from this woman. And as I watched her unfold and really embrace that thing about herself, as I watched her unfold and really embrace the fact that she was a little bit curvy, she was a little bit rounder, and really step into the fullness of her power, I've watched her business go like this. And it's just been expanding, expanding, expanding. Number one thing her audience say, they say how much they love her for being her. They say how much they love her, that she's not skinny, mini, and that she understands what it's like to have a little bit of extra weight. You know, this is the things that she hears from her audience over and over and over again. And it wasn't until she was loving that part of herself that part of herself was able to be fully expressed. And it began, and that part of herself was actually the thing that made her magnetic to her clients. How cool is that? Like, how awesome is that? Right, let's see. I am seeing some things here. So, I'm too old. I'm too inconsistent and haphazard. I am too sensitive, too introverted, too fat. And those are my regular ones. Right. Let's just sit with those just for a minute. Let's just sit with those energies and know that those energies came to us because at some point we were willing to take our energy and compare it with another energy that was completely unique, or many other energies that were completely unique. And these are the areas where we are almost rejecting ourselves, that we are not fully embracing ourselves, and we are not fully accepting the wholeness, the fullness of who we are. And so what I want you to do is, I want you to think about now the two, and I want you just to imagine that the two is an energy, and I want you to feel that energy should feel quite restrictive. So if you close your eyes for a moment, whatever you're saying, I'm to this, right? So say for instance, I'm too talky, right? So I'm going to go in with, I'm too talky, and I'm going to feel that energy. And I want you to feel, where do you feel that energy in your body? Like, where do you feel in your body? Where are you feeling and experiencing that energy? And what does it feel like? Does it feel expansive, like it's opening up? Or does it feel contracted, like it's closing down? Where are you feeling that in that body? And so I'm two. Okay, so I'm feeling I'm too talky, actually in my heart and in my throat. I can feel it in two places. So I'm feeling it in my heart and I'm feeling it in my throat. I'm too talky. Talk too much. Right? I feel really contracted in my throat and my chest. Right. Okay, so wherever you're feeling this energy, just let me know wherever you're feeling this energy. And we're going to feel into this energy and we're going to bust through this block and we're going to really move through this energy and change it up. We're going to shift it up. So we're feeling into the energy of where we're saying. So if you're just joining us on the live, we're checking our bodies for we're a story that we've told ourselves, I'm too this. So I'm too whatever. I've gone with I'm too talky because it's a story that I used to tell myself and I want to see where I feel it. So I felt it in my throat and I could feel it in my heart center. So throat and chest is Karen as well, right? It's interesting, isn't it, that it's in our throat and our chest, and our chest, where our heart is one of our biggest electromagnetic receivers for the divine. Is literally sitting in our hearts. It's a powerful, powerful electromagnetic receiver, literally sitting here in our heart, right? So what I want you to do is, I want you to feel into that energy now. And I want you to feel into that energy. And I want you to ask that energy, if it has a lesson for you, what would that lesson be? So if it has a lesson for you, what would that lesson be? And you know, the funny thing is, I went with I'm too talky, I talk too much. And do you know what? My heart and my throat, and as I'm asking, do you have a lesson for me? My heart and my throat have just said to me, you have so much more to say. You have so much more to say. So I want you to check in with, does your restrictive energy have a lesson for you? Is there a lesson for you? Let's body talk this out and talk with your body. And big time solar plexus. So tune into that energy, Lynn, and see where you're telling yourself the story of where you're too much, where it's too much. And then feel into the energy and then ask if the energy has something to teach you right now. So Amy is be, accept, open and receive. Doesn't that feel good? Isn't that like a permission slip to just allow yourself just to be open? As open as you can. So if you said, for instance, one of the things that Amy said is, I'm too much, right? People tell her, you're too much. And she says it to herself sometimes, right? And so just to be open, just to be herself and be like, yeah, this is me. This is it, right? This is it, right? This is the package. It's chatty, it's talky, it's loud, it doesn't like to conform. She doesn't like rules, right? Isn't it a giant permission slip? For me, I just felt as soon as I tuned into that energy, as I have so much more to say, it's just giving me permission just to talk and talk and talk. And you know what? That I will do that through different channels and things. And people can tune in as and when they want. They don't have to, view me 24/7. But if I have something to say, I need to say it, right? Because if I allow myself to express the fullness of what is coming through me, what is in me as an energy, then I am expanding my container. I'm expanding my container. I'm expanding what I have to give to this world. Because maybe, just maybe, the world made you this way. Made you exactly the way that you are for a purpose and a reason. And every time you allow the people police to police you down and dim your light, dim your light, dim your light, I'm too, you rob the world of your greatness. You rob the world of your light. You allow that light not to shine for other people. And what if there's a whole load of people out there that need your light in order to activate theirs? Maybe you made soul contracts with them, that at such and such a date you were going to put it all on video and put it out there, and it was going to resonate with someone and give someone like, holy F, this is life changing. What if that's what you signed up for when you came here? And then you listened to the people place and you were like, I'm going to dim my light. And instead, what would it take for you just to embrace all your twos? What would it take for you to step in and say, my twos are my pluses? What if they are your bonuses? What if they are your golden ticket to success? What if they are your golden ticket to success? What would that mean? And then you're like in life, like looking everywhere for like that golden ticket for success, and like, oh, there's got to be some formula, or there's got to be something, or there's got to be some stuff out there, right? And you're searching. And there you are, like already inside of you. You're just rejecting them. What if that success was just on the other side of accepting all of those things about yourself and saying, you know what, these are my pluses. Maybe I was put on this earth to talk. I really do believe that. Maybe I was put on this earth to be fully expansive. Let's see what people are saying. Linda is saying, I love that. Yes, I can have it all if I allow myself to. Absolutely. You allow yourself through being the conduit. You are the conduit by which you are receiving in. Any place where you reject yourself, you are shutting down that piece of your container. And your container then is not as large as it can be. Now remember, your container has the ability to have infinite expansion in it. It's me telling me that I'm overweight because I'm holding back my energy, and that my sensitivity can be my greatest gift and lead me to my purpose if I accept and work with it. And absolutely, and I'm going to say to you, Tasha, you might not be able to see it how right now, but your weight can also be your plus. It can be a plus. Right? Because not everybody looks like the supermodels. Not everybody looks like that. And in fact, in Britain, Australia, and America, the average woman is a plus size woman. They're between the sizes of 16 and 18. So actually, the majority of women are curvier. And when we begin to embrace all of that and see it and accept ourselves for it, then it's a powerful, powerful tool. Because not everybody is tiny. And the people that are, that's what they need to accept about them. I remember I used to have a friend, and I mean, honestly, you've never seen a woman pack away food like this woman did, right? And she just could eat and eat and eat. She was so skinny. And it didn't matter how much she ate, she was just like always skinny. And she was always hungry as well, which was like the most bizarre thing. She was like always hungry, and that was her. And she always used to say, oh, I wish I could put on weight. And I'm like, honey, I would give you some. But, you know, but in the end, it was just like, that was her and this was me. And she was a great gift to me in my life. It started off with complete sheer envy at the amount that this woman could pack away. And then eventually it translated into, oh, this is why this person is in my life. She is a gift for me to accept that this is who I am, in accepting this is who she is. And as soon as I accepted that that was who she was, it was easy to accept this is who I am. So, I'm too shy and I feel it in my solar plexus. So yeah, so what lesson did that have for you? I feel like I'm holding back on what I can give and I just want to let it flow. Absolutely. Permission slip granted. Let that thing flow. Amy is saying, I can be it all and I am it all. Absolutely. Embody it. Carla's saying, I hate the word plus size. Well, you know what? I kind of like the word plus size because, you know, you can get an A or you can get an A plus. And an A plus is way better than getting an A. So I kind of like that I'm plus. And so I personally don't dislike that word. I personally see it as a bonus. But everything is, you are the receiver and the perceiver of your life. So you are receiving in your life experience, but you are also the person who is telling the story about it, right? So you're perceiving your life experience. And any place where you are telling yourself negative stories about your life experience, I'm too this, I'm too that, I'm not enough, I'm, you know, all this. This is where we are shrinking our container, and that is the container that which we receive in through. And if we want to open up that container, we want to open up that container nice and wide so that we can really fully receive in the fullness of what life has to offer. Right? If we can receive in the fullness of what life has to offer, then we have to do that. And the only way that we can do that is by accepting all of ourselves. The more that we accept of ourselves, the bigger our container becomes. Because then we're not sitting there like telling some shitty story about how we're not good enough or how we're not enough. Because remember, the universe takes its cues from us. So the minute we're telling that negative story, I'm too this, I'm too that, I'm not enough, right? The universe has to say, right, oh, is that the bar that you wish to be honored by? Because the universe honors you to your own internal bar. And it's you that sets that internal bar. And that's why self-love is such an important thing. But most people, when I get to them, when I first start working with them, I'm like, let's forget self-love, honey. Because they're so far from it. Let's just start on becoming a friend to ourselves. That's the first step. Let's just start with becoming a friend to ourselves. And then once we become a friend to ourselves, it becomes so much easier to love, because we love our friends. And we don't even have to think about loving our friends. We like them. We get on with them. We start having a good time with them. And then before we know it, we're like, bye-bye, I love you. Speak to you next week. You know, and on the phone. And before we know it, we had that feeling of love for them. And so self-love, you don't have to like push yourself to try and love yourself when you don't feel like loving yourself. But what you can do is start to accept yourself. Start to accept what you have termed as flaws and accept them for who, as part of you and who you are. And then you can grow that friendship. And as you grow that friendship, I promise you, the self-love just is a natural byproduct of becoming your own best friend. And as you become your own best friend, your container for what you are able to receive will open and open and open and open and open. And the more that you become willing to embrace all of it, the whole enchilada, the more you can receive. Because your receiving is dictated by the level of what you believe that you deserve. And if you don't like yourself very much, you are not going to have a very high level of deservability within you, because you've set that bar way too low, because you are a one of a kind. There is only you on an entire planet of 7.6 billion people. One of you. And you are not accepting the specialness of that, the uniqueness of that, the beauty in that. And you are comparing, which is stealing your joy, which is why perhaps life has become joyless. Because you've been so attached to telling the stories of I'm too. And so what would it be like to tell that story of I am too, but say it as a positive? To say those words instead and own them. Fully own them. Fully say, I am too talky. I am anarchy sometimes. I'm too serious. I'm too this. I'm too that. I'm too geeky. That was another one. I geek out of stuff. I love science. I absolutely adore science. I love the science behind stuff. Too weird. That was another one that I told myself for years. Carla is saying I've done a year of self-development and working myself, and I love myself so much more than I did a year ago. That is awesome. That is so beautiful. So, being able to receive and more is completely reliant on what are you willing to accept within yourself. And the more that you can accept. And here's another thing. And this is something that I've seen time and time again with life coaching clients. Is that sometimes what happens is that they are not willing to accept something about themselves, right? So they come to me and they're not willing to accept this thing about themselves, right? And then as we work together, I help them to move into this space of accepting this thing about themselves. And the transformation is always incredible to me. You know, the transformation in that is always incredible. But usually what we find is that where they're not accepting themselves is their pathway for greatest growth. And I've seen people who have told me that this area that they haven't accepted themselves in, and then what's happened is that they've gone on and actually turned that area into a career. Because it was just sitting there waiting for them. But they were so busy shutting down the energy in that quadrant of their lives that they weren't able to fully embrace it. Too generous. Be as generous as you like. You know, like give. You know, that is, I absolutely, and that's something that I advocate even as a business model, is lead with generosity. Because I think it's Maya Angelou, you know, she said this, and I think people will forget what you say, but they'll always remember how you made them feel. And it's so true, because our feelings are really what echo through time, because the feeling is actually the vibration. It's not the words that are the vibration. The words evoke a feeling, and the feeling that the words evoke is the vibration. And so we will always remember the vibration. We will always remember the vibration of somebody. Which is why, you know, even, you know, we will always recall that person that was mean and nasty as a child to us. Because we remember their vibration. We remember how they made us feel in that moment. But we will also always remember the person that was kind or generous or offered something, or just a beautiful act of kindness, because we remember their vibration too. And I think that's so important to be mindful of that, to understand how that energy really works. And it is really the vibration that we remember. So I hope you've enjoyed this live stream, and I hope that you are going to cozy up and cuddle up with your twos and really see your twos as your pluses. These are the things that make you unique. These are the things that make you who you are. And the more willing that you become to embrace them, the more that you will be able to receive in from the universe. So sending you lots and lots of love, and I will speak to you soon.